Say Bear on the second day of May. Hopefully everybody has a good weekend. We got the Kentucky Derby this weekend.
Are you asking or telling?
I'm asking.
Yes, we did. Yeah. We had a guest on that talked about it yesterday.
I feel like it hadn't got as much publicity as it used to. I guess I'm not as deep in the degenerate box.
Or you don't watch
as I used to
NBC, I guess, as much.
Nah, I don't. Ever since I had to find my ever since I got to go to Peacock to watch Big Ten, I was like, you know what, I'm done with NBC. I'm just going to have to miss this one. But no, I listen. It's kind of one of those things. We're hitting that part of the year. Like, I got a chance to watch some NBA basketball last night, which was cool. Detroit Pistons ends up falling to the New York Knicks in the last seconds of that ball game. And Detroit moves on. New York moves on to the second round of the playoffs. They end up knocking the Pistons 116-113. Jalen Brunson gives you 43 points and 40 points, and the biggest three of the game came with the 4.3 seconds left in the ball game. Where if you're Detroit, that is probably one of the worst defensive possessions that you had. It was, and again, some things are simple, but it was a simple crossover into a back. Like, he crossed him over to a step back, and he created probably 15 feet of separation. And it's like, out of all the moves that these NBA players are able to do, how that one was the one that got him that much separation, I couldn't tell you. But the Knicks end up knocking off the Detroit Pistons in Detroit, 116-113, advance to the second round of the playoffs. And then we have a Game 7 approaching because the Clippers and the Nuggets, really and truly, I thought this was going to be the best series that we got anyway, and we got the full gamut of it. The Clippers knock off the Denver Nuggets 111-105, and I watched a good bit of the ball game, but it's so difficult to get a read on both of these teams because Kawhi Leonard, people tend to forget. Like, he took Toronto. The whole country of Canada was on his back, and he knocked off the Golden State Warriors to win the NBA Finals just a few years ago. And now with him being with the LA Clippers, it's been kind of a rocky road because you see the good Kawhi, then he'll miss 60 games out of the season. But when he plays and he's on, he is still one of the best NBA players doing it right now. He's just got this old school approach where it's a calm 27 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. And it's like, wait a minute. He's doing this and doesn't have to get all rah-rah. He gets to his spots. He's better than you. And on the defensive side of things, like, he makes it so difficult for Denver to really match up with him. Like, you can't throw as many bodies as you want to at him, because he's able to score in a bevy of ways. He has to step out and shoot the three. He's got that. If he has to drive to the lane, he's one of the stronger, NBA players playing right now, and he's pretty much going on mechanical kneecaps. Like, he's probably one of the most beat up players. Has load management, but when he shows up to work, he goes 110%. Like, I don't know how to describe it. And the fact that him and James Harden still find a way to make it work. And James Harden is one of those guys where he's a streaky shooter. He'll either shoot you in or out the ball game, but he gives you 28. Kawhi gives you 27. Norman Powell, who was just missed of being an all-star this year, gives you 24. So you getting the production that you need, but now you're going into Game 7, and it goes back to Denver. So Denver's also doing this with an interim coach. They fired Mike Malone with 3 games left into the at the end of the regular season. So the fact they're even in this position and still competing, one, shows you how good Nikola Jokic is, what Jamal Murray brings to that team. Like, the squad that they have, they're very confident in, even without the guy that's led them the entire time. They still find a way to be in the position that they're in and go into a Game 7.
It's not that surprising because the way the NBA has been, at least for the past decent amount of time, the playoffs are when the superstars not only shine, but like, they make their money. They prove their worth. And yeah, they may take some time off in the regular season and not give 110% on every single game. I mean, you want me to work consecutive nights? Yo, that's how dare you? But when it comes down to it, the reason a lot of these stars are because of games like you got from Kawhi last night. Like, this shows why he's been a Finals MVP in 2 separate franchises.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it made total sense for him to be what he was in San Antonio, but then he goes and does it again, stops another dynasty not stop, I guess, trips up a little bit in Toronto, and I don't think they'll ultimately fully get it done this year, but the fact that him and Harden are still able to provide so much opposition and still, when all is said and done, like, all right, the back's against the wall, what are we going to do? I got it. And then sure enough, they got it.
They did. Force a game 7. That game will be coming up on Saturday evening. It'll be interesting to see. But we do have we got football this weekend as well. Our Birmingham Stallions take on the San Antonio Brahmas. I wonder who the San Antonio Brahmas are going to be starting at quarterback, because the quarterback that they had, or at least the starter that was there, he got benched last week against the Houston Roughnecks. But I'm just going to mind my business. If you know, you know. But also for the Birmingham Stallions, who's going to be playing for us? Because one, Alex Magoo still hurt. And then you're hearing reports that Matt Corral, his injury may be lingering a little bit further along than we thought. Now we got Case Cookus, and if you watched last week, again, it wasn't terrible, but it also kind of shows that it was very similar to what Auburn had last season during football season. It's okay if you're starting quarterback and the third string quarterback and your offense kind of still looks the same, there's a problem. And the Birmingham Stallions look to definitely defend home field after last week's loss to the Memphis Showboats, which again was the worst team in the UFL. But this weekend, it's a little personal for me. Like it's probably one of the biggest hate watches I have. Depends on who San Antonio rolls out there at quarterback. If it's their starter that they had the past couple weeks, Birmingham needs this win. I'll put it like that.
Oh, so hate watch. So you mean you actually will cheer if it's not him?
No, I still hate watch regardless.
Oh, okay.
I'll still hate watch regardless. But it would be extra if the quarterback that will not be mentioned, if he is starting. Because he'll feel the heat. Like, he'll know, like, yeah, you stepping into the Lions den. You're stepping into the Lions den down here in Birmingham, Alabama. There's a reason why we won the UFL championship last year against y'all.
So you'll be at the game?
That's my plan.
Okay.
That's my plan. That's my plan. I got to make sure. I got to see that one with my own 2 eyes. That game will kick off 3 o'clock. If you can't find yourself at Protective Stadium, you can watch it on Fox there at 3 p.m. on Sunday. Our Birmingham Stallions take on the San Antonio Brahmas. But something I definitely want to get the listeners and your reaction, or actually your response to this, because I had this discussion with a couple of my buddies last night, and of course they're like wishing me happy birthdays and things, and like, okay, I'm getting older. But then we started debating about who would be on if you had SEC only, if you had your personal Mount Rushmore of SEC football players, who would it be? 205-834-9450. Because once I started going down, I was like, oh, this is easy. I went Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, Derrick Henry, and I kind of got stumped. I was like, because we started talking about Darren McFadden. We started talking about Joe Burrow. We started talking about some of the defensive guys like Derek Thomas from Alabama. We started talking, and I was just like, oh, man, like this is actually not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And I wanted to do it just for guys that I've seen play, just with my own 2 eyes of just, okay, this is who I would say is the 4 best that I've seen play in the SEC. And the number 4 name that I had was Todd Gurley. And that caused a lot of controversy. They're like, oh, man, he only played for 2 years. And like, he wasn't even healthy all the time. I was like, but when he was healthy, do you know what that man did? Like, he came back from a sprained MCL and took a kickoff return against Auburn straight up the middle 100 yards. Like, it was him, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. They all kind of came through around the same time. No Sean Marino when he was there early on. Just when we look at the SEC and narrowing it down to 4, it was a lot. It was a difficult practice. And people said to me that, the 1 year that Cam Newton is there, they're like, he didn't have the big enough resume. I said, well, he did everything that you could possibly do at the quarterback position at Auburn and won the national championship. Like, he went undefeated, won the Heisman, won all the quarterback awards, and also won the national championship. Like, that 1 year can suffice for anything that he would have had as far as a career goes, because he would have been trending in a very high at a very high mark. He also was the number 1 overall pick. He was the MVP when he got to the league. And they're like, no, I just don't think that's long enough. I was like, okay, well, he did it in the SEC. Like that last time I checked, he did it in the SEC. And people brought up Johnny Manziel. And I was like, man, when you start to dwindle it down to 4, it's so difficult because we all vary in age ranges, and some of them had seen, like somebody said Cornelius Bennett. Somebody said, somebody said George Teague. I have a funny George Teague story because of that one moment there. I was like, look at the rest of the career. Like, we really putting him up there? I said, Minkah Fitzpatrick has more of an argument as far as Alabama defensive back than George Teague does. And I was like, Minkah Fitzpatrick was one of the best defensive backs Alabama has ever had. And you look at, and somebody said Patrick Surtain. I was like, okay, how recent are we going? Like, we got to think of the entire SEC and narrow it down to 4. And
you and Todd Gurley.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I went Todd Gurley. But again,
all
like,
the SEC, but yeah, Todd Gurley. Okay.
Listen, the impact is there. The impact is there. He also won not MVP, but Offensive Player of the Year. It's just he got bad knees, man. He was young. He got bad knees. See what happens when you get in the Todd McVay's system. If you're a running back, you gotta make sure you eat your Wheaties because he's gonna feed it to you once he sees what you could do. But no, I think it would be a great conversation. I want to get the listeners involved as well. 205-834-9450. Again, your SEC Mount Rushmore, SEC football player Mount Rushmore. Who would the 4 names be for you? And another thing that came up, because Texas and Oklahoma are in the SEC now, do we allow them to have a say-so? Would you allow it, John?
To me, no, because while they're in it now and we claim them now,
their body of work is still in the Big 12.
Correct. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What they did wasn't in the SEC. So therefore, now granted, we can maybe go back and look at, okay, well, someone played and they were 3-0 against. Oh, okay, all right, we can look at that, but I don't feel like looking at that. So no, I ultimately I would say no. Plus, also it'll make things easier because you're gonna have to think about Black Jesus and Vince Young if that's the case. Exactly. There are a whole bunch of players that.
Adrian Peterson.
I didn't even think about. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, they would make it a lot more difficult. But we'll keep it going on the other side. 205-834-9450. Your text message, your calls always welcome here on Morning JOX. Keep it locked on JOX 94.5. 6:17 here on Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, John Saybear here with you, getting you set for the top of the hour with McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Those guys coming up at the top of the hour from 7 to 10. Also from 10 to 2, we have 3-man front. And after that, the Paul Feinbaum show from 2 to 6. So you want to keep it locked here on JOX 94.5. Spring weather in Alabama can be really unpredictable. That's why you need the reliability of a Train, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. And right now you can see up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Train home comfort systems. Find out more at Train.com. We're talking about SEC football players, Mount Rushmore. Who would be in your Mount Rushmore of SEC players? And we're getting some reaction on the JOX text line. You can always text in 205-834-9450. Mike from Hayden, he has 1, Bo Jackson, 2, Herschel Walker, 3, Devontae Smith, and 4, Tim Tebow. I like that.
Okay. It spreads generations.
It does.
Doesn't just go old or just go young. So you could learn from that, Damian.
Jamie texts in. He says, my 4 on Mount Rushmore is Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, Cornelius Bennett, and Derek Thomas. I like that. Lewis texts in and says, all SEC history starts when you join the league, in my opinion. Also, when you leave, you no longer matter. Georgia Tech, Tulane, Sewanee.
Okay, well.
That means Oklahoma and Texas are going to have a heavy lean in your Mount Rushmore then.
Yeah. I think it's only Arkansas matters since 92 then. Okay.
Fair enough. Steven takes in. He said, Burrow, Tebow, Herschel Walker, and Bo Jackson.
No defense. Okay.
You know, we're offensive league. Big offensive league. Even though we've got some of the best defensive players as well, but
apparently not.
it's all offense, baby. Somebody texts in and says George Teague was just as important as Minkah Fitzpatrick. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Minkah Fitzpatrick's just a better defensive back, but also they played in 2 totally different eras. Like it was George Teague's probably a better hitter than Minkah Fitzpatrick ever had to be, but as far as just overall play, I would give me Minkah Fitzpatrick. Somebody texted in. All running backs. He's got Bo Jackson, Sean Alexander, Herschel Walker, and Cadillac Williams.
Okay.
I like that. And Joseph texted in. He says, would you consider Brock Bowers at everything that he accomplished at Georgia? He'd be top.
I mean, I consider, but I can't put him top 4.
Right. But he was one of, you look at Carson Beck, when he had Brock Bowers, and you look at Carson Beck when he did have Brock Bowers, and you ask Carson Beck how he feels about him. But yeah, I do think that he's definitely one of the best to have played the position here in the SEC. Joseph texted in and also says Herschel Walker, Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, and Bo Jackson for his Mount Rushmore.
So when you gave your 4, which were what again?
Cam Newton, Derrick Henry, Johnny Manziel, and Ty Gurley.
And you caught flack, understandably, for Gurley because he hadn't done it long enough. But
right,
no one said nothing about Newton. No one said nothing about Cam.
Yeah, they had the issue with Cam Newton because it was 1 year. I was like, but literally the best year ever. And my argument was, if you took Cam Newton off that Auburn team, that team was probably going 6-6, 7-5 at best. He was the difference maker. And I think Johnny Manziel too, it's the year he had, when he exploded at Texas A&M, and Texas A&M just getting their footing in the SEC, he was must-see football, game in and game out. It was some of the most unorthodox play on and off the field, but one thing you could not deny was the talent. Like, he just went out there, played backyard football, and absolutely made it. He made Texas A&M fun. He made them likable for a time.
I think that's part of the reason of his allure in the fact that the only person that really did that to a Nick Saban defense was someone built like Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay, I get this. You have Hercules' son coming out here and running roughshod all over that defense. Okay, like it makes sense that this is the guy that can go through a Nick Saban defense. And then you have someone, I don't want to call him the polar opposite, but drastically different in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, he can do it too? This boy's cold. Okay, let's see what he. Oh, he did it again. Granted, it was also more so Mike Evans the second time,
right?
But still, yes. But it was like, whoa, like this happens. Huh. Okay.
And he just made it look so easy. And that's why I tell people, he made the quarterback position very similar to Patrick Mahomes. They made it look like anybody could just go out there and do it. No, like the talent in which they had, some things that you just cannot coach. And also, they both were coached by Cliff Kingsbury, which kind of throws you off a little bit because when he was a head coach, it was, okay, well, I know one position on the football field that he'll be prepared. Everything else kind of we'll figure things out. Somebody texts in and says Reggie White, Tim Tebow, Herschel Walker, Barrett Jones. I never would have had an offensive lineman in it, but they got to give him the flowers.
That, I mean, he's down the hall, and you're just going to say that.
I wouldn't have.
Okay, well,
I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't be able to do what you wanted to do on the football field if not for them. But okay.
No, and no disrespect. I would have never.
It feels like this. Really.
No.
You literally said I would never put that.
No, it's just I wouldn't know where to start. Like it's, I wouldn't know where to start. It's just if they were great, but I wouldn't have just had it. And again, no disrespect to Barrett Jones. I would have never put an offensive lineman in there. It's hard to tell who was great and who was pretty good. Like
when you say, I mean, no disrespect, but I would never do this. How am I supposed to take this?
See, I think Drake is a little confused. He texted in. He's got Tebow, Deion Sanders, Warren Sapp, and Barry Sanders. 3 of those 4 didn't play in the SEC. Okay, let me reset. The SEC football player, Mount Rushmore. That's where we're going for because Deion went to Florida State. Were they in the Big East at that time too?
No, they were independent and went into, but at the time, it was Florida State. Yeah, or excuse me, ACC. Yeah.
Warren Sapp, he played at Miami. I know he played at the U. Yeah, I know he played at the U. Hey, it's all good, Drake. It's all good. No sweat.
Say Drake.
Teddy from Birmingham. He's going full Bama. He's got Julio Jones, Reuben Foster, Tyrone Prothro, and Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Even he has a defensive person. Okay.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it. All right.
No. I'm just an offensive guy. He has 2. Yeah, he's got 2 of them. And even Reuben Foster being in there. Like, he was good at one thing.
Can't do linemen. Like, wow, just going full meathead.
Offensive guy.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Offense sells the tickets, baby. We sell the tickets. Somebody else takes in CJ Mosley, Rolando McClain, Reuben Foster, and Julio Jones. That's a savage. Mount Rushmore. Full-blown Bammer. But I'm here for it, though. Like, this is where I knew, because it's hard to just narrow down to 4. But what the 2 names that I've consistently seen, Bo Jackson and Herschel Walker, and they were playing at the same time back in. So I could only imagine a defensive player after 1 week you got Georgia and then the next week you got Auburn. Hope you went to treatment that week because it was going to be absolutely
more so you
brutal.
needed the week after. Okay, you could. All right, we weathered the storm with Bo, but now we got Herschel or the other way around. Like, oh, okay, back-to-back weeks. Those trainers earned their money.
Absolutely. Somebody texted in and says Devontae Smith, Joe Burrow, Bo Jackson, and Will Anderson. And he says, please put some respect on George Teague's name. I didn't disrespect him. I didn't necessarily disrespect him. Okay. I just wouldn't have had him in my. I just think there are other defensive backs I would have put ahead of him. But not to say he wasn't great. But like if we're arguing again, we're arguing against 2 national championship winning defensive backs for Alabama. These are the first world problems of being an Alabama fan, I guess. It's like, no, I mean, no disrespect at all. It was just a different era. It's just a different era. And also, Minkah Fitzpatrick was a safety. But when you look at just overall versatility, he's probably one of the ones I would say I would have him ahead of George Teague. No disrespect again. But we keep them going. 205-834-9450. It seems to be catching heat. And there are some names I didn't think I would see on here, but it's
like Deion.
Right. It's getting very interesting. Keep it locked. SEC football player, Mount Rushmore. SEC football player, Mount Rushmore. We'll keep the conversation going on the other side. Keep it locked on here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. 6:31 here on Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, John Saybear here with you. We are going through our SEC football players, Mount Rushmore. Now, I emphasize football player because now it's now we're about to take a mean left turn. So we had Teddy from Birmingham. He texted in his Mount Rushmore. He has Julio Jones, Reuben Foster, Tyrone Prothro, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and he also has honorable mentions. 1, Jadeveon Clowney, understandable, and Will Reichard, kicker for Alabama. Just do with that information as you wish. It's now, you thought I was disrespectful to the offensive lineman. I'm going to go ahead and let you know now. I would have never put a kicker.
You're not going to put the guy who scored the most points in college football history.
No.
I mean, Alabama would have had 547 fewer points.
That's fine.
If not for him.
That's fine. And that's fine. A kicker. Listen, to each its own. I wouldn't have.
Did he play on the team?
He did.
Okay, so was he an SEC player?
Yeah.
So you're telling me you're not going to consider someone as one of the greatest of all time because they're the leading scorer?
Kicker.
Okay, so LeBron James is not the greatest. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Marvin,
you just told me that the all-time leading scorer is not worthy of inclusion. So that's fine. I
would never put a kicker in my Mount Rushmore of football players.
It just proves how much you hate LeBron. That's all. It settles your Jordan debate then too. Good to know.
Sure. Nick from North Birmingham, he texted in. He's got Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson, Derek Thomas, and Cam Newton. That's top tier. Okay, this is Drake texted in. He has Tim Tebow, Darren McFadden, Percy Harvin, and Myles Garrett. Now, Myles Garrett he reminds me. So I remember when I was in high school, and he was the number one player in the class of 2014. And I was like, there is no way me and that man are the same age. Like, that human is not the same age as me. I refuse to believe it. But when you talk about overall impact from the moment he stepped foot on Texas A&M's campus, yeah. Some people just got it, and other people's we just don't.
Yeah, you're right. You two are not the same age. He's like 3 months older.
It's like, what were they feeding this
just
man?
Imagine you in 3 months from now. Yeah, you could be Myles Garrett. Yeah.
It's insane. Marvin texted in. He says, you have to include Archie Manning, the one horseman. So he has Tim Tebow, Herschel Walker. He's got Jackson.
Bo Jackson?
I'm assuming Bo Jackson.
Okay.
And Archie Manning. So yeah, got some flavor. But no. Couldn't do it. Jamie Bailey texted in. He's got Bo Jackson, Derrick Henry, Herschel Walker, and Sean Alexander. The SEC running back room by itself could be its own Mount Rushmore. Like, the backs that have toted that thing in the SEC, there's some great ones. Greg texted in. He says, Derrick Henry, do we need anyone else? Hey, I'm with you. He's a legend. And he did it in an age where, like, the running back position had never seen somebody like that in a long time. Where Lane Kiffin, for as much as we know his offensive prowess, even he had to look in the backfield and was like, we can hand that ball off to number 2 and let the chips fall where they may. We're not going to ask Jake Coker to go out here and throw it for 400 yards. Nope, we can give it to Derrick Henry 43 times a game, and we'll still accomplish every goal that we need to. Dalton texted in. He has Javier Arenas, Reuben Foster, Johnny Manziel, and Mark Ingram. Okay. Javier Arenas, I do know him more of the return specialist. Like, I do know if you punted it to him, the chances of him taking it to the crib were pretty high. And somebody takes in and says, great point. Will is the leading scorer in the SEC. He is.
Just not a football player, apparently.
Listen, I don't make the rules.
So let's see. So kickers don't matter. Defensive players don't matter. And offensive linemen don't matter.
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't say the defensive don't matter. I just had 4 offensive players.
Right. So they don't matter.
I only
to
got
you.
4. I only got 4 places. It wasn't like I have to pick a defensive guy.
I mean, then the conference known for defense, you're just choosing not to. That's fine. So just in your mind, in your purview, all that matters is the skill position.
Sure. Somebody texted Derek Thomas, Reggie White, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker. All had significant time at school and extremely impactful. Yeah. And again, like, I mean, the reason why you have, like, I guess the debates of, have they done it long enough and things like that, it changes. Like, over the years, you weren't expected to be there all 4 years. But the benefit that they do have, a lot of those records that were set too, they knew they probably wouldn't be broken anyway, because of the fact that kids are, 1, they're hitting the transfer portal now. 2, they're only staying for 2.5, 3 years at the most. Once they start getting those rumblings of they're going in the draft, they're going early in the draft, they're gone. It's just so different. Bo in Haleyville has a question. He says, no Peyton Manning. He said, what about Greg McElroy? All he did was win. Listen, little G Mac to death, but there's a few more quarterbacks in the SEC I'd probably take over Greg. Love him to death. But Peyton Manning, nobody has mentioned Peyton Manning.
You didn't ask me.
Who's in your Mount Rushmore?
Okay, well, funny you ask. In no particular order. Peyton Manning, Bo Jackson, Tim Tebow, and Derek Thomas.
Okay. And that is kind of interesting because nobody, like, out of all the text messages and everything, like, nobody has said Peyton Manning. And
I wonder if it's a good chunk of the people here didn't like the team he was playing for.
Right.
And so you may like him now. So yeah, it's cool. Like, he's funny. Hey, he's hosting SNL. It's cool. It's awesome. But back then, you gonna leave Rocky Top in my hometown? Oh, okay, Playboy.
Still some hate in there.
Yeah. Don't get David Steer started on the Mannings. Whoo. That's Kendrick and Drake level of hate right there.
See, Alan's trying to be funny this morning. He's got Johnny Manziel, Kellen Mond, Eli Manning, and Nico Iamaleava.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. No, listen. That's the thing about these things, because it brought up so many conversations. I'm surprised nobody went Eli Manning for real. Like, I mean, people love talking about how great he was when he was in college. He was number 1 overall pick. So, listen, man. Somebody said sounds like Mount Rushmore needs an expansion.
I mean, maybe.
I know it, man. But that's the thing. That's the benefit of being in the SEC. We got so many to choose from. Yeah, so many to choose from, whether like your team or not. Somebody said Nick Fairley would be my defensive guy. He was dominant. When he turned on, when he was on, 1,000%. John texted in Steve Spurrier, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, and Tim Tebow. Now, I didn't get a chance to see Steve Spurrier play, but the man's got a Heisman Trophy. So he was doing his thing. I just know him as the old ball coach. I ain't really get a chance to see him, when he was, put out there playing.
I don't know, but I think he won a title as player.
As a player, too?
I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, but, I mean, if not, to win at least the Heisman as a player and titles as a coach, like, oh, all right. Like, yeah, that's probably worthy of inclusion. Because that, to me, is almost like if we're talking about impact, especially, like, that may be, like, on a, not to the full level, but someone like a John Madden that affected it in multiple ways, across multiple generations, whatever, something like that. So in that case, also maybe not necessarily just one, but you could argue maybe potentially the Manning family as well.
Somebody texted in, Marvin texted in, he said, I have a hard time including Derek Thomas. He played on one losing team at Alabama. They ain't got nothing to do. They ain't got nothing to do with him. I understand it's a team sport, but you turn on the tape, it wasn't because of Derek Thomas. I promise you that. Somebody texted in and says, I'm an Auburn fan, but why ain't nobody said A.J. McCarron? He won 2 natties in 3 years starting and only lost 3 games as a starter and was a Heisman finalist behind Jameis Winston.
Hey, man, why do you hate AJ?
I don't. I just hate him because he was a St. Louis Battlehawk.
Okay.
That's the only reason I ain't like him. But I wouldn't. It's kind of him and Stetson Bennett too. Like you look at Stetson Bennett's resume, it's not many players have done what he's done, but nobody's put Stetson Bennett in the Mount Rushmore. See, that's somebody got Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel, and Aaron Hernandez. Just leave that there.
So you'll say his name, but not Kellen Mond. Wow. Okay. All right. Wow. You beat around the bush for Kellen Mond earlier, but you just throw out him. Okay. All right.
Listen, man. Just, If you can look at what he did on the football field, to each its own. To each its own, man.
Okay. You know what? Maybe I'm gonna understand why you don't want to include kickers and all like that. All right, you see people differently. Okay, I get it. That's fine. Makes a lot of sense.
Steven takes in. I need to know if you're closer to picking your fandom for this year. Yeah, I will say this. I've narrowed it down to 15 schools. By the end of May, I'll probably narrow it down to 10 because there are some schools as I get closer to the fall that I'm just don't know if I can get behind necessarily.
So by picking your fandom, do you mean
my recruiting?
You will cheer for them no matter what?
No matter what.
Even when they play Tennessee?
Yep. I'm locking in. I'm locking
so
in on one team.
So you won't wear the other team's attire or anything else like that?
Nope.
For how long?
The football season, the entire football season.
Okay.
I'm rocking with one team.
All right. So if by chance you pick them and if you're the jinx and they end up like Florida State, week 3, you're not going to be like, you know what?
Nope.
Ours really was about Arkansas. I don't know why Tennessee. No, that wasn't me.
Whoever I cheer for, I'm burning the chips. I'm locked in. I am full sin. Full sin. No matter what, the highs, the lows, we're going with it. We're going with it.
Okay.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Well,
it's gonna be tough.
Start taking bets see how long you actually last.
It'll be the entire year, man. Through thick and thin, man. Mm-hmm. I'm loyal. I'm going to be loyal.
Loyal for this season only. Okay. All right. Selective loyalty. Okay. All right.
Now it'll be fun. We'll keep going on the other side. Your Mount Rushmore of SEC players. You got 4 of them. You got 4 of them. And obviously they are all over the place. But we want to continue to hear from you. 205-834-9450. Keep it locked here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. 6:48 here on Morning JOX 94.5. Damian and John here with you. Going over the Mount Rushmore of SEC players, getting your reaction on the JOX text line, phone lines 205-834-9450. Lewis takes in and said, I've already declared for the winter fandom portal for winter of 2025. He said, I'm a one and done. I'm a one and done. Oh, man, this is fun. David Kilgore texted in. He has Eddie Jackson. Love it. I loved Eddie Jackson when he was at Alabama. Reuben Foster, Ryan Anderson, and Minkah Fitzpatrick. That would be his Mount Rushmore. Drake says, I got a feeling you'll be pulling for my Gators, Damian. They sweeten up the NIL deal. They're, we can see. Somebody takes in John Hanna, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, and Derek Thomas. Bama Hater, he texted in. He has Ozzie Newsome, David Palmer, Tony Nathan, and Joe Namath.
Oh, 2 Bama guys.
Yeah, exactly. So that hate must.
Where his heart's at? Okay.
Yeah. Somebody said I need to do a Mount Rushmore of my fandom. It would be the Tennessee Titans, the Birmingham Stallions, the school formerly known as Birmingham Southern, and who would be number 4?
Just TBD.
No, it'd be the Cincinnati Reds.
Wow, no Lions, no Goff. Now, honestly, your fandom would be Jared Goff, Marcus Mariota, like just players.
Just to play, yeah, for sure.
Like, oh, these are your best. No. This is my fandom. These are my teams. These 4 players.
Let's see. Man, that Eddie Jackson one, man. If Eddie Jackson had not gotten hurt, I'm telling you, he would have been a first round pick. I was a huge Eddie Jackson fan when he was in Alabama.
Loved him so much, but not on your Mount Rushmore.
Couldn't do it.
Okay.
Couldn't do it. As bad as man, Eddie Jackson was. If I was big, if I was like 6'1", 200, and I could, if I actually wanted to hit, I would have been like Eddie Jackson. He was my favorite defensive back to watch, man. He was so smooth. That man just that was a good one. That was a good one. Let's go to the phone lines. Larry, who's on the road, wants to give his Mount Rushmore. I know it's probably full of Bammers, but go ahead, Larry.
Hey guys, I totally agree that the quarterbacks get all the glory and they deserve it because of all the pressure they have. But the best players on football, in my opinion, are D lineman and O lineman, and my 4 are Reggie White, DT, Derek Thomas, 2 guys y'all might probably remember. But if you remember the Bears of '86, they had the most feared defense at one time in football, and they had 1 loss that year in '86. I think it was 1 or 2, but one of them was against the great center for the Miami Dolphins, Dwight Stevenson, who was awesome in that game. And then last but not least, big bad John Hanna. And I don't know if you ever saw that, heard about it, but Matuzak was a broadcaster for TNT, and they asked him who he feared the most, and he said John Hanna when he got knocked out by John Hanna back in the early 70s. But hey guys, I respect the O linemen and D linemen because of what they have to deal with up front because it's so physical. Enjoy the show always, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, we appreciate you, Larry. Let's go to Edward in Calera. What's happening, Edward?
Morning, guys. My favorite player of all time is Jalen Hurts from Alabama because his love for the team, his dedication, hard work, and commitment to the team. I love that guy. I mean, as a coach, I wish every kid was like him.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, man. We appreciate you. Oh, he's going to give us the full Mount Rushmore. But, hey, Jalen Hurts. And he would, if we were including Oklahoma, he would have been in on both sides of it. He would have had the Alabama fan base. I know there's some Alabama fans like, no, it's probably best that he left. And Oklahoma's like, man, we appreciate what y'all gave to us. Because Lincoln Riley, all it took was a season, and they figured it on out. Let's go to Brandon in Leeds wants to talk some ball with us. What's going on, Brandon?
Hey, good morning, guys. Appreciate you taking my call. Just a little bit of a change of subject, but if you were a first-round pick, would you want to go high in the draft to get that first initial money and impact and go to just a team that's struggling, or would you rather go in the first round towards the last where you have a shot to get on actually a contender? I was talking with my buddy when we were watching the draft, and that's kind of a hard question because you with these first round draft picks, you don't know until they step foot on the field, what they really are. I mean, there's potential, but there's also performance. And, you know, I told my buddy, I was like, well, if I was a first-round pick, me personally, I would rather go to a better team in the later part of the first round, even though there's not as much money as like your first top 5, top 10.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to see about what you guys thought.
We appreciate it. I would see. It's so much position based, because if I was a quarterback, yeah, I would love to be the number 1, number 2 overall pick, and hey, we dig this thing out the mud, because there's a reason why y'all drafting this early, because you need a quarterback. But if I'm like a receiver or a defensive back, like I look at Malachi Starks from Georgia, the perfect landing spot for him was the Baltimore Ravens, because that defense is already solid, and then you're adding him on top of what you got in Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, even Jalen Armour-Davis back there, Roquan Smith. Like it's kind of situational.
Would this be different if this were 10, 12 years or so ago, before the rookie adjustment, and that you're getting Sam Bradford money, all like that?
Hey, I don't care if y'all 1-15, big dog. You can have me.
Okay.
You can select
Just
me.
making sure. Okay.
Oh, yeah, man.
Okay.
Hey.
No,
Cheddar
to me,
makes it better.
I would much rather be the mid to late round draft pick, because I'm still first round talent, and I'm going to a team that's most likely going to be a contender. Because besides, most likely, especially the way it is now, the money comes on that second contract. Yeah, the first contract is pretty good, but the second one, and if you do that and you're a champ or you're in the playoffs perennially, you're going to get even more.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
The way it is now, again, 10, 12 years or so ago.
Sam Bradford threw everything for a loop.
Yes.
It's like, hey, we paid him all his money and he hurt. Man, we appreciate y'all. McElroy and Kublik in the morning. They're next.